Alright, so I wanted to take a moment to capture what a disaster the house can look like during a renovation. So obviously getting down to the studs here, this is the dining room. So that was the last bit of lath, which there's of course going to be some bits of plaster still attached to the lath in some spots, and then you can see this huge overflow from upstairs came downstairs because there's nothing stopping anything that just goes up to the second floor there. You see that? So coming back around, it's my little space. The foyer. Last bit of plaster from where the chandelier was hanging. Window blinds going up the stairs, and I'm working through the last bit of plaster and lath on the ceiling, which is waited till the last bit of this demolition phase because it was the most annoying. So you can see all this darn plaster sitting on the stairs, and got my extension cord, all the insulation, some lath. You can see this is the lath from the closet. Still needs to come down. This ceiling right here is, and all of this surrounding plaster is the last bit in the house besides that right there that needs to come out, which is a little more challenging because it's in this super tall stairway. So I'll be tackling that from above by removing the insulation and then pounding a 4-pound hammer from the attic down, which will basically send shockwaves through the lath and plaster, crumble it up. The lath will start breaking off, the plaster will start falling down. So I'm going to cover all this up, cover that window, I'm thinking, with a piece of cardboard so nothing hits it, breaks it. So you can see all this stupid insulation. It's the worst. It came from the ceiling, and you can see basically this going back right there. It doesn't go all the way up to the 9-foot ceilings. So this was basically a standard height frame-in that was done after the fact, and they had a drop ceiling in here, so all they needed to do was build this inner frame. You can see, you know, this is a good almost 2 feet right there to the original framing up there. And so I initially had to take down all the drywall that was in here because it was more recent, and then once that was done, there was a whole network of 2x4s and whatnot, and here's the return air vent. You can see how much that's sticking out from the original framing because it had to meet the framed in ceiling, and so all of that's taken out. Taken the pull down stairs out, so I've been just climbing up there basically. You can see some insulation in this room, which I will not be using that vacuum to get up, it's just there. I'll be funneling that into a large 55-gallon bag. You can see these drum liners, they're super thin, but for insulation you can get away with it. Bathtub full of insulation and lath. So you can see what a mess this is. And then these are basically non-structural boards, and it's obviously, you know, just completely separated, just basically straddling this framework right here. These were put in to make, basically this is where a wall and ceiling would meet. So you can see this right here was actually where an original wall was, so they use this non-structural piece here to make it easier to get everything attached. So just keep moving through. Lots and lots of insulation, and you got to be careful walking around because all these little pieces of lath have nails sticking out of them. So you can see that guy right there. So he'll get you. So you gotta be careful. Wearing boots. There's a hole in the floor right here. This is where a chimney went up. So you can see the cutout right here where the chimney went down. Into this back room. So everything where there's still the drywall, that's the addition. That was done, obviously before I moved in, but relatively recently. Chances are I won't have to take that down. So that little test right there was just to make sure it's insulated. So this is actually where the original house stopped. And you can see this would not be big enough for a bedroom right here. So they obviously built this inner framing to accommodate a new floor plan, as well as there was ductwork for the oil furnace that's no longer in use, running all through here. So it wasn't just this gap; it was used at one point. So yeah, this is really just to show how crazy this is. I'd like to look at this video after everything's done and kind of just say, wow.